This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to Life Mastery with Todd Allen, the talk radio show that dives into the science of higher consciousness. Join Todd and his guests weekly at 10 a.m. Pacific Time and learn how to live a peaceful life with intentional mastery. Enjoy a survey of inspiring topics such as abundance, intention, health, manifestation, love, and transformation. It's all right here. Leading authors, speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs with stories and messages to support your well-being, let alone your most evocative dreams.
And Jackie Bailey's here too, my co-host. We got to change that, Jackie. I know we've talked about it a couple times. Every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, where's Jackie? Jackie.
Go for it.
Life Mastery Radio with Todd Allen and Jackie, or Todd and Jackie, I guess is the name of the show today. Welcome to Life Mastery Radio, the talk show that brings you great thoughts and ideas for you to use on your very own life mastery journey. And hey, it's another groovy day. That's because I make it that way. When I get up in the morning, I decide before my feet hit the ground that it's going to be a groovy day, and the rest of the day, no matter what happens, I can always reflect back and say, hey, it started out groovy. I can change this on the spot and make it even groovier by whatever challenge, completing, whatever it is that comes up. And it's magic. It is truly magic. So pick your word, find your phrase, whatever it is to help start your day, and utilize. It's a pretty cool way to start, and it's a pretty cool way to keep it in the groove all day long. As always, before we get started, I like to get myself centered and situated and ready for some great content, some great information. Maybe some seeds will be planted that I can use in the future. But let's just take a minute and think about what it is that we connect to. What is it that you get power from? What is it that you focus on? It could be God, it could be Allah, it could be the dude, it could be a groovy song. It could be the doorknob that leads you out into the world. Whatever it is, just take a minute and think about that, focus on it, and let's take in a deep breath. And just let that breath out with a big ah, and just let your essence flow up through your heart center, throat chakra, out of your speaker box, out into the universe, and focus on making that connection. Ah. This time, let's think about our dreams, visions, and goals. We're in the fourth quarter of 2021. You might not have made it all this year, but there's always next year. Think about those dreams, aspirations, goals, whatever it is. Focus on those. Taking a deep breath. And then again with just a big ah, and let those dreams, visions, and goals flow out with that out into the universe. And here's the deal. Allow the universe the opportunity to make those come true for you, because that's how it works. Chin up, tail out from between your legs, wagging it like a little puppy dog, just looking for that opportunity. That's the way you do it. Hi, Jackie. How are you today?
Hello, I'm grooving. Hey, I wondered if you've ever thought of an acronym for groovy. You ever thought about an acronym that might represent?
You are the queen of acronyms.
I am.
There's only one person in the world that would be able to do that, and that would be you.
Well, acronyms just make it easy for retaining information, right? And so I just wondered if you ever had.
I can hardly wait. I can hardly wait to see what you come up with, because here's what I know. It will be cool. Jackie is the queen of acronyms and everything associated with that, and she does really good. She does such a good job. She does a blog post every week about the show, and she comes up with some amazing insights and what her takeaways were, and it's a great way to review. If you missed the show, I guarantee you read her blog post about the previous show, you'll want to go and listen to the show because
I hope so. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, I think it's true. Just think of all the content you have out there. It's pretty amazing.
Well, I always worry, am I giving away too much of what we said on the show? Because I don't want them to think, Jackie told me everything. I don't need to go listen to it. But I really don't. There's so much content, as you say, Todd, that I can't possibly write everything down that we talked about. But I try to highlight the things that were meaningful to me, or that were
your take
new
on it. It's
or
your
interesting.
Yeah, it's your take. It's what you get out of that. And I'm always amazed. It's pretty cool. I want to remind our listeners that you can go to today's show page at www.lifemasterradio.net or .com, whichever one you type out first, both take you there. And you will find any links that we talk about on today's show with our guest right there. Eventually, the YouTube video gets posted there. Jackie's blog post gets posted there. And while you're there, you can sign up for that newsletter. Jackie creates a newsletter every week. It highlights who's been on the show, who's coming on the show, and of course, her blog post about the show that we just did. So it's a plethora of information about Life Mastery Radio, all in a nice, neat little newsletter that you can sign up for. That's all we use that email address for. We don't even really have control of it. We just put the content out there every week, and you get to find out about who's been on the show and who's coming on the show.
And you get a free gift from me. There is a link that you can click on right there in our newsletter that gives you a positive prime session to watch anytime you want to. And it actually allows you to do a 10-day free trial of literally hundreds of other positive prime sessions from people like Jack Canfield and Sean Johal, who are inspiring in their own right. And they have created these sessions where science has proven, if you watch this session, which is it's a video, but it gives you positive affirmations. There's wonderful music playing that gets your soul moving. And there's also affirmations that are shown and pictures of people doing fun and tremendous things. And so watching this for 3 minutes, science has proven you will have a positive mindset for 6 to 8 hours.
It's pretty amazing.
After watching it for 3 minutes.
It's just kind of like boom, 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 boom.
Check out that because it's a free gift from me, and it's the session that I created for my kids, my students. So
check it out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great thought leaders on there. Joe Dispenza, right? Joe's on there. Many more.
Yeah. Mercy spinoff. There's lots of people that, I can't even name.
Check it out. Sign up for the newsletter and get that free gift from Jackie.
Stephen G. Post. I think we had him as a guest on our show a while back. So Dr. Post has one on there as well. So yeah.
Really Very cool. While you're on the website, Jackie and I both have a book, and you can follow links to Amazon.
We haven't talked about that in a while.
She's going to show her book, so I got to show my book.
There we go.
Maybe our guest could show his book. Does he have a copy of his book? We're going to talk about this book coming up.
We are the book triplets. Yay!
Centering the mind. And let's do that. You want to talk about, you want to get on with the show? Is there anything we forgot?
I need my mind centered for sure. So maybe we should get on with it.
All righty then. Our guest today is Dr. Christopher Macklin, and he is a powerful channeling medium and healer from England who utilizes divine healing techniques cultivated through divine knowledge from God and the spirit world to help people recover from all types of illness. Christopher is able to heal many people simultaneously with the help of God's angelical light beings who work with Christopher to rebalance the body's energy field by clearing chakra points and cleansing the body's meridian field by removing blockages and negative energies. Dr. Macklin is the founder of the Global Enlightenment Project. That is the Global Enlightenment Project. Connect with him to become enlightened even more. He is a paranormal conduit, medical intuitive healer, global messenger, and author of that wonderful book he just showed us, Centering the Mind, Healing Stress, Anxiety, depression, ADD, OCD, and PTSD, and several other books. Again, that is Centering the Mind, Healing of Chronic Stress, Anxiety, Depression, ADD, OCD, PTSD in Children, Adolescents, and Adults. Welcome to the show, Christopher. Wow, that's a pill. That's a cure-all.
That's an
pill
alphabet soup. That's an alphabet soup.
Where do I get? I know where I got one. I have a PDF for it. Well, welcome to the show, my friend.
Oh, thanks for having me on, Todd. Jackie, bless your heart. Thank you for so much.
So, how is the reception? You wrote this book. Let's start from the beginning. Where did the inspiration come from for this book? Because this is like your third book, second book.
It's the fourth one, I think. I've done 5 in total. So this is the fourth one. Yeah. It came from really, I think over the last few years, certainly with what's going on in the world, we all know what that is I've seen people go pretty south and get very angsty. Even spiritually evolved people are getting kind of, this is too much, and so
it is a lot.
It is a lot.
It is a lot. I mean,
and of course, you've got your emotion, and then you've got the collective out there, which is in a crystal grid around the planet. When that builds up, it can people get pretty angsty,
and we have this, we have this that is filtering stuff. I mean, we're exposed to more information, more stuff. It's hard to relate what's true, what's not true.
Well, sometimes people say it can't be this bad. Well, food's hijacked, the air's hijacked, the soil's hijacked, water's hijacked. What's not hijacked? Religion, everything. Everything's hijacked. You think, okay, well, then it's time to take a step back from it all and don't be in the matrix. You've got to get yourself back to your bubble, to your safe, to your safe haven where you feel safe, where the people around you really get you. And that's one of the key instruments, I think, at the moment, is being in that safe place, stepping out of the world and looking for your passion.
Well, there's also kind of a falsehood with a lot of society today. I don't want to single out one single person, but it almost seems like people are creating this false reality for themselves and putting it out there, right? And so this is who I am. I'm this thing that I've created in my mind, and it's not real. And then trying to live up to that, I can just see the quagmire that people are getting themselves in.
Yeah, they create stress because they can't live up to it, And you're right, you get to, like a false perception. It's interesting because I always encourage people nowadays. I mean, we were talking earlier, my father thinks I'm absolutely nuts, barking mad. And I love it. I think it's brilliant. But the thing is, I kind of fell out with him in Easter. He was talking about some things and what you're doing and you don't believe in this and that, and I sat him down. I said, look, Dad, my perception of this world is my perception, and that's my reality. Your perception is the opposite, but that's your reality in your understanding of what's going on. And I said to him, tell me who's right or wrong. Well, I said, the answer is nobody, because your perception is true to you. My perception is true to me. And I said, but stop, talk about Jesus. I'm not a Christian, but I love Jesus' teachings. I'm Buddha as well. Man. He's sitting
one
there.
of the greatest teachers of the world.
And he taught, don't judge people. So I never judge people. All my prayers are based on, not for us to judge them, therefore release them to God with unconditional love and all this sort of thing, and I really live up to that. I don't judge anybody. They can do what they like. Do I agree with it? Well, maybe not, but that's my perception. So always remember, I always encourage people out there, don't judge people just because they're doing something that you don't agree with, because that's their reality. That's their perception.
Do you think there is a lot of judgment going on right now?
Oh, tons of it. There's hatred, actually.
And do you think that has to do with everything else that's going on around us, that we've got all this vibrational energy that's negative from a negative source, and it continues to churn up negativity, and maybe we're just all a little bit lost. Maybe we can't really figure out who we are. What is our reality at this point? Is that possible?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think people do get lost. I mean, how many times do I see, I deal with 80,000 people a week, of which I probably do online. I would say probably about 400 or 500 people, because we do specialized groups one-to-one. So I talk to them. And how many times in a week do people say, I don't know what to do, I don't belong here? So I said, well, do you understand why? Well, since I was 4, I just didn't gel with this planet. I said, but it's not your planet. You're a starseed, so don't try and gel with it. Take a step back. You know, you're here to help. You're not here to dive in the matrix and get consumed. It's like having a swimming pool. Think about a swimming pool, you know. Humanity's in the swimming pool, they're pooing and weeing, and you look at the swimming pool, do I want to dive in that? Probably not. Let's stay out of it. So it's our job to pull the people out of the poo and wee, wash them down, dry them off, and get them back to their sovereign self. That's my goal. You know,
your objective.
I think that the days of the guru and all this nonsense are over. You are your own guru, and that's why I encourage people, get back to it. And you know, when you find your passion, you get excited for the day, like, yay, let's do it. And you leap out of bed in the morning, and you know, the things you do in the day can even blow your pantaloons off. Who knows? But you know, it's so exciting. You know what I mean? And I think if people can get back to that, then they get that inner strength, and they're just ready to take on whatever they need to take on, because they get their high vibration. The problem is that I hear so many people say, well, I hate my job, I've got to go. And they go to work, they get a paycheck, you know, it's all gone with taxes and everything else, and there's nothing there, and don't enjoy their life with their family because, you know, they've got the wrong part, whatever it is. Well, change it, you know, because we have such little time here. You know, it's so important to have the courage and the faith to step out and change it. And, you know, once you do that and get back to your passion, the world becomes blissy and amazing.
You know, I heard something today that or I didn't hear it, I read it, and I'm paraphrasing it. How did it go? It said, knowledge, because there's so much knowledge out there today, but knowledge has a way of anchoring our beliefs. So what we learn about helps us to believe in what it is that we believe, and what it is that we buy into. But true knowledge allows you to know that you're wrong.
Yeah.
I just thought that hit me. I was like, wow, what a novel idea. What a way to keep us humble.
That's the key. I think it's really important to stay humble. And I think, you know, the other thing about it is that there's so many people out there putting misinformation at the moment, you know, different places. Again, I encourage people, look, you know, if you're going to watch something, whatever you do, you know, go with your intuition. Does this feel right to me? If it feels right, watch it by all means. But if you feel like, this is not gelling, switch it off, because there's a lot of reptilian energy in, you know, videos and YouTube and Facebook, whatever, you know, all these companies. And I think it's very addictive, and people get addicted and they almost stress them out. I've got to watch the next thing, got to watch the next thing. And you get all this stress, you know, it's like a hamster wheel of knowledge that's misinformation. So it's really important. Take a step back, you know, it's okay, you know, and go with the intuition. Does this feel right? And if it does, then do it, you know, and if it doesn't, switch it off. It's really important, I think, right now.
Yeah.
Well, is that an easy journey though? Is it easy to get centered? Because there's so many elements to the reason that we could be off center, right? I mean, there's the energy, there's the vibration, there's our health, there's things that's happening in the world, disasters and political strategies all around us, and falsehoods that sometimes we buy into. So seems like there's a lot that we are bombarded with constantly. So where do we start? I mean, what's the first thing we should do to try to feel centered again, to get out of that pool or to stay out of that pool? What's the first thing we need to do?
I think the first thing is identifying that probably 95% of it is called blah, 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 you know. I'm not going to tell you what the definition, but blah, blah, blah. It's interesting because I had a French lady, and she goes, do you realize the name for blah, blah, blah in France is toi, blah. Blah, 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 blah. I thought that's great. But it's just basically blah, blah, blah. You know? And so I think when you take a step back from that and stop, you know, trying to hunt it down and look for a bit of misinformation, everything else, and you get centered, and like I say, getting centered means getting back to, you know, your life, changing your life where you start to really enjoy it, finding that fire in your belly passion that really gets you excited. And if you can find that, I think everyone's got it. God's got a plan for everybody. There's a divine plan. And I think, there's a passion, there's a gift. And the thing is about a gift, well, what's my gift? It's something that you don't have to try. It's just there. You know what I mean? It's downloaded. It's there. Like these healings, where did I teach it from? I was born as a Mechistic being. I've got 84% Mechistic DNA. And it's just a Mechistic thing. It's there. I know it. And therefore you just do it. It's a part of your being. And I think if you can change your life like that, and of course, get out of the matrix so that people aren't shaming you, or you didn't do this, or you didn't do that. If you can stay in your sacred space at home with the friends around you who love you, and you can have some fun. And, if you like cooking, do some cooking and have some fun with it. Spend some time with it, or, doing the garden or growing your own plants or vegetables, whatever you love. You've got to allow yourself the time to really grow in a different way, because this planet's changing, of course. We can all see it. And I think that's the element, getting back to a centered mind where you can feel comfortable in your own surroundings, And that's,
let's dive down in that just a little bit, because that was something that was big on my mind. Is I heard you say, I think it was earlier this morning on some videos that I was watching, everybody has a gift. Everybody comes here with the gift. So, Chris, what would you say to a person? Because I've heard this many times. I don't know what my gift is. I don't know what my gift is. What would you say to that person?
What I would say is, sometimes the reason why you don't get your gifts, they don't download them. Think about this, and I'm going to take it back to a time when I went bankrupt in 2007. And I was sitting there, and I was in the middle of Manchester. I had a Bentley in the parking lot, didn't have any money, couldn't even put gas in it, ridiculous. I was embarrassed, actually. And I was sitting with 2 or 3 Walmart bags with a few clothes in, worked for 21 years, earned millions of pounds. Okay, God, this is not funny. And I said, well, it's the right time. How do you mean it's the right time? And I didn't realize at the time. They said, oh, you'll see. And by goodness, I saw. But it's a journey. And I think what you've got to do is, we all ingest way too much emotion, probably 100, 150,000 layers. And people say, I've worked on it all my life. But you've got 150,000 layers. No wonder people, are struggling with cancers and things, because their vibration's low. And once your vibration plummets, it allows pathogens to mutate the cells, turn into tumors, and you get problems with your liver, righteous anger, paralyze it. You get problems with all sorts of things, mainly coming from the emotion. So, we have facilities and instruments to be able to start releasing that emotion. Because if you go to a practitioner, they'll poke at you 1 or 2 layers, you bowl your eyes out, it takes an hour. You go back next week and you do it again, bowl your eyes out, it takes an hour. Now, if you've got 100,000 layers, you're going to be 30,000 years old, and
you're going to be addicted to going every week, right?
Yeah, but do we live that long? Not quite. I mean, I'd like to, but we don't. We live maybe 100 years, 120 years, whatever, or 80 years. So, we have fast techniques where with psychic surgery, the Mechistic beings can go into these layers and say, okay, let's have a look for your biggest layer affecting you right now. Energetically, they pull it out. Next biggest, pull it out. And so if you release 81, 162, 324, 648, or 1296 layers each time, that's going to rid you of a lot of the big emotion that's really dragging you down. And it just takes a while. That's why we do healings 3 times a week, to really help people.
And
is that what stress is, Christopher? We call it stress, but is that what's happening to our bodies when all of this is happening around us and we don't have the proper tools or mechanisms to cope with it? And is that what we call stress?
Yeah, and it stores and stores and stores. Now, the other thing, of course, it does is if you've got, all these layers, it affects the glands, creating the GABA, serotonin, dopamine, everything else, because it's affecting the adrenals as well. And so your neurochemical balance goes off. So you get OCD, ADHD, ADD, and all these things. Now, it's no use just releasing the layers. That's great. But what about the neurochemical balance? You've got to get that back in balance. Again, we have a brain series where it releases the emotion directly in a line with that condition. And then what it does also is it gets the Mechistic beings, and they go in with psychic surgery and actually work on the glands to help them rebalance and release them a right amount of neurochemical balance. And they work really well, so, and we've been doing this for ages. We've got psychiatrists, psychotherapists who uses meditations instead of drugs just to numb people down. I mean,
it goes back further than that. I mean, we're finding out today what the ancients knew and what the ancients practiced and what they understood worked for people, and we got away from that, and now we're back again. And some of your teachings goes way back to what the ancients thought and how they dealt with things in their life.
Absolutely. And I think, we've all got some element, I think, of either anxiety or OCD. I mean, I've got OCD. I found some pantaloons. I bought 73 pairs, and my wife's going, "Oh my God, why do you need so many?" And I said, "Well, I need some more. It's just a thing. I think it's because I was semi-homeless. If I find something I like, I need to buy them. So I've got them for the future, But she goes, 73 pairs, that's a little much. But other things I'm not bothered about. It's just we've all got quirks, and that's okay,
Mine's model airplanes. I have so many model airplanes. And they're
Todd's
not
model airplanes. Mine's pantaloons.
They're not
Jackie, what's yours?
Model airplanes. They're big ones, and I just love to build them, and they're cool. And then it's like, where am I going to put this one?
We've all got quirks, and I think it's because the stress and everything else, and like I say, we wrote Center of the Minds. It's got some things, but the biggest thing is just releasing the emotion and getting back to that sovereign self, and getting back centered again, getting back to that peace. And one of the things that we do also is, of course, as you release an emotion, your vibration gets higher. You get all this positivity. That, wow, I feel amazing. You leap out of bed in the morning, go, "Oh my God, I feel incredible." When you get to that, you're in the quotes, the God space where, you just, everything's blissy. And, I do that. This ministry's got 10 staff. I don't do accounts. I actually can't stand accounts, can't stand it. So I subcontracted out $15,000 a year. Thank you very much. The IT guy, we've got 16 computers. Well, we've got all them, I don't know, but we have. And he comes in and fixes them, probably, I know, $18,000 a year. Pay him. Because you know what? If you don't like doing those things, then just focus on what you do love. And this is it. Yeah, this is it. Healing.
I know that one. I do not like fussing with money. I can't stand it. Don't want to know. So I hire people to do that. And, I can track it. I can keep track of it, but it's just something it's hard for me to get in that mindset of fussing with money. It's just weird.
Well, the accountants get so excited. "Oh my God, it was 18 cents off, and it took me 4 hours now. Found it, yay!" And I was going,
I know. It's
really?
I see my accountant. He's just like, "Oh," I'm like, "Dude, settle down. It's not like somebody put it in their pocket. It's there somewhere."
Yeah, that's amazing.
Or maybe I did put it in my pocket, but it's not there anymore.
Well, it's definitely not my cup of tea, but.
So
it's amazing.
We talked a little bit about gifts, and everybody comes in the world with the gift, but talk to us a little bit about the difference between the gift and what your purpose is.
I think they're in alignment. I mean, your gift is normally a purpose, and depending on what you do with your gift, I mean, my gift is healing. I certainly don't get it. I mean, I'm surprised you haven't asked me already. How the heck did you write this book when you've got severe dyslexia? And the answer is, I dictated it. Did I write it? That'd be no.
I didn't know you had severe dyslexia. Now I know.
Yeah.
How did you write that book, mister?
But I actually just put a headset on because we've got loads of headsets here. And, literally just on Skype, dictated it. And, the ghostwriter, writes it all down, asks me questions. What do you mean by this? What do you mean by that? And then puts in a format, which is an interface between myself and the outside world. And she's brilliant at it. She really is. But, writing and spelling isn't my forte. It's really interesting, but healing is. I love it. And even reading, when you got dyslexia, if you read a sentence, you kind of get frustrated because you miss words out. Well, that doesn't make sense. Hang on, let's read it again. And my wife, Mandy, said, "Why are you trying to read? You're frustrating yourself. Just let me read to you." Oh, brilliant. Because you're only focusing on the sentence. You're not focusing on the content. So now if I want to read a book, she reads it to me, or we get an audio book, and I can really close my eyes and focus on the content. So, again, everyone's got gifts. Some people are good at writing. Some people are good at, cooking. A master chef doesn't even have to go to school. They can just get things. Right. Suddenly you've got this beautiful dish that I would think, wow, how did you produce that out of those 4 things? But they do, sculpturing, painting, they're all healing things. And I think, it's important I think with gifts, it's important to understand what comes to you so naturally. And it doesn't take, like playing the piano. Can I play the piano? No. I could learn, but it would take me a lot. Now, some people, at the age of 4 can play the piano like a beautiful concerto. So I think, and I think with those gifts is your purpose. What's your purpose? Well, my purpose is to help as many people on the planet get back to their sovereign self. We have a huge project, the Global Enlightenment Project, which is off-planet pyramids. That's something maybe for the future, but it's off-planet pyramids. It's probably about 100,000 acres. And that's in play at the moment. It's going to cost millions of dollars, billions of dollars, actually. But again, the money's being lined up. So, there's things like that happening. So that's the purpose, to use the gifts and move them forward to help as many people as possible, service to others instead of service to self, of course,
That's cool. I think my purpose, I discovered my purpose many, many years ago, and it just came to me, and that is to light the path that leads others to the fire that sparks a fire in their own heart. And that has been with me for many, many, many years. And it's there. And that's what Life Mastery Radio is all about. It's just lighting the path for others to follow to the fire that sparks a fire in their own heart.
That's the thing, like we were saying before, people say, well, I need to change the world. Well, why don't you just change? I always tell people, as a Mechistic being born here, there's 5 of us here. It's my job to get on a dart bus, maybe a dart bus anywhere, whether it's in government or whatever, or you can help locally, local authorities, whatever, and switch one light on or 10 lights on. If you switch one light on, you've made a huge difference.
Yeah.
And
I agree on that.
Absolutely. It's so important, the smallest changes, you never know how big they are.
The ripple effect.
We'll talk about small and large change. So you said a few minutes ago that you work with 80,000 people a week. Is that what you said?
Yeah. We have on YouTube, we have about 20,000 people who do the healings 3 times a week. It's Monday, 9 a.m., Thursday, 5 p.m. and Saturday, 11 a.m. So we get about between 19 and 22,000 doing that. On YouTube, we get about 500 people live and, obviously on YouTube, on Zoom. And then on Facebook, we get, I don't know how many, probably 4,000. So it's a lot of people. That's 3 times a week. And I do, between 12 and 14 hour days, 4 times a week. Monday, we have 2 specialized groups. We have 20 people on, that's 40 people. And then we probably do about another 18 people on top of that. Tuesday, probably the same, so there's a lot of work in it,
Well,
and so
take us through that.
It's your gift. It's your gift to heal. But how do you have the energy to do that? Can our gift be exhausting from time to time? Or is using our gift and living our purpose always give us energy? What do you think?
I think it always gives you energy. But I also think, we had a break last week. I was off from a week last Friday to yesterday. And it was incredible because the first day, first 3 days, I said to Mandy, I got to go and take a nap because I was exhausted, And I think it's important to, keep monitoring yourself because even though they give you energy, it's still a lot of work talking to that many people every week, and you don't obviously want to burn yourself out. So I think you do have to pay attention to yourself. And I've realized I didn't. And so I've decided that every 3 months, we're going to take a week off just to take that break because you need to get away where there's no responsibility. So where you can just enjoy yourself and drink fermented water and things like that,
Well, maybe, I know we talked about it before the show, but give us an example of what people would experience attending one of these healing sessions or tuning into it.
Well, we go through a lot of things, the generic healing session, we try and cover cancers, anything from calcification, like arthritis. We work on blood sugar issues. We do 27 heart chakra releases. The reason why I only do 27 is because if you do many more, you need to speak to the person to make sure you're not overdoing it. So if you do too many heart shock release in one go, they can crash, and I've seen it, you know. So we keep it safe. We detox the body. How do I do that? Well, you know, we've all got a toxic body. People go on about, oh, you got to eat GMO foods and all this. Well, what's GMO free? What is organic? Well, is there anything left without Roundup in it? And probably not. Yeah. Who knows? You know, so what we do is in the body, we switch the heavy metals and toxins out of this time to a different time in the body, draw them out of space. So it's called time-space continuum switching. It's really good because you can feel this like weird breeze coming out of your body.
Wow.
And remove any entities, work on the liver, kidneys, you know, the intestines, work on the neurochemical balance. We work on autism, 3 types of autism we work on. We tachyonize cancer tumors. I've got an energy called space-time continuum. I call it tachyon energy, but it's not the same as Tesla's. What it is very electrostatic. When you apply it to a tumor, what it does is it breaks the molecular structure down, so it kind of gets softer, and then the Mechistic Beings could go in and drain it through the, you know, the lymphatic, which is the bloodstream. So what it does is just go softer and smaller. But I always tell people the thing about cancer is that you've got to get rid of the primary secondary cause. The tumor's just saying, hey, your body's off balance. You better pay attention to me, or I will pay attention to you. But it's not a killer. Primary cause of cancer, emotion. Secondary cause, pathogenic infection. So, you know, it's important to take care of all the, you know, the instruments that make, you know, the tumors happen so that they don't come back again.
Who are these Mechistic beings that you talk about? Tell us about who they are.
They're from the ultimate dimension. There's 5 of us here at the moment. We work very close with the Arcturians, off-planet beings, of course, and, you know, we're just here to just help on the planet. You know, and I knew when I was born, like, well, I don't belong here, you know, but, you know, you learn to reconcile yourself and start enjoying the planet for what it is, you know, without, again, you know, diving into that matrix and trying to be part of it, because you can't, you know, because you're not from here. And I really encourage everyone to think about that, because, you know, my father's, you know, can't tell my father this, but, you know, he's not my father. You know, my mother was abducted and I was implanted here. So, you know, my father one day, oh my God, he's going to read one of the books. And your mother didn't sleep around. Well, she didn't. She was abducted to get me down here. Because a lot of starseeds are spliced at birth. You need enough DNA for a lot of starseeds like Arcturians and Lumerians and people like that to allow the light body in the body to be able to contain the soul. So it means that the normal human DNA is not enough. You know, you have to be spliced at birth to get enough DNA to hold the vessel of the soul. Really interesting.
Fascinating. Fascinating. Well, back to your book. I noticed your book is centering the mind is very direct. And that's what I love about it so much, is it's very direct, and you have maps of the brain and you explain concisely how this works, what this does, and then you have exercises that help people get through it. Was this downloaded to you, or did this just come out of your soul?
Well, I had some idea of the exercise, and, you know, I looked at the brain, the map, and, you know, decided, well, let's investigate it further, because I wanted to understand, why do you get ADHD, you know, and all these different things, and, you know, why do you go off balance? And looking at the maps and understanding the brain was, you know, with the time. And then, of course, you know, we created the diagrams and different things. So yeah, some of it was downloaded. Was it all? No. I first of all took a map and wanted to understand, is this correct? You know, is this the correct thing that happens? You know, the GABA, serotonin. There's very little known about the brain. It's amazing. You know, and so the things like the OCD and, you know, all the different neurochemical balance, they were telling me it's off balance because of the emotion. So I wanted to be able to correct that and get rid of these anxiety attacks, because when people get anxiety attacks, they can hardly breathe. You know, it's crazy. And especially at this time, almost everyone's got anxiety in the you know, in the planet. It's just, so people certainly need help in that respect.
Well, I thought that's what's intrigued me about the book so much, is it's just so simple to understand what your thoughts and ideas are when you reflect back to those brain maps and how this works and how this affects that. I thought that was just fascinating.
Well, you know, most things that are straightforward, people can understand them. You know, when you get to all the scientific of blah, 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 then it all goes like, what? You know, but I always like to make things really simple. You know, I'm very straightforward, you can probably see, and, you know, I just like things simple, to the point. I could have expanded, you know, we could have put a lot of blah, blah, blah in this, but I didn't, because, you know, a lot of people write books and there's a load of fluff in it. You know, you can read like 2/3 of the book, it's that thick, and it's repeating itself many times in a different form. I never do that. I just want to tell it like it is, because I don't want to waste people's time on fluff. And so, you know, I always tell people, actually, it's got a duality as well. If you don't like the book, you can fold it in half, put it under the door, and it's a doorstop, you know, so... so it's useful, whatever way.
Christopher, have you always known that you had this gift of healing, or was it something you discovered at some point?
I always knew I had the gift. Didn't realize it was as profound as it was, because when I was younger, I could see craft in the sky. Dad, there's a flying saucer in the sky. You go and say, what? You got a good imagination. But I can see them. I remember at the age of 4, a big old Anunnaki, a reptilian creature, came in the room, and it was standing in the corner of the room. And you get, you know, when you see these creatures, you know, they're pretty dark. You get this like really dark feeling. Dad, there's a reptilian thing. It looks a bit like a velociraptor. And he comes running, what is it? What is it? It's there. You know, he goes, where? What, you can't see it, you know. And I realized he couldn't see these things. So I learned to actually manage them. Even at the age of 4, when he'd left, I said, get out of my room. It went, you know. And so I had the power even then to manage these things. So I realized I could see a lot of things that he couldn't see. And of course, you know, these things attach to people and travel around with them. So, and now they have the ability to turn it off or on as you know, when I'm healing or not. Because, you know, you don't want to walk in a public place and see all these reptilians attached to people and different things. So I have the ability to switch it off and just stay in the 3rd dimensional world, which is good. But healing came later on, probably about when I was 22, 23. You know, I was just playing with things and realized, wow, people get much better very quickly. And then when I went bankrupt, I spent 4 years meditating about 6 hours a day. They showed me cause and effect of leukemia. How does that work? Cancers, all sorts of things, cystic fibrosis, DNA stuff. And I also worked on, you know, manufactured diseases as well, which is a big thing, like, you know, Lyme, HIV/AIDS, Agent Orange, Morgellons. I worked on all them and found a protocol to actually strip it all out of the body. So I was pretty blessed by that. But, you know, when it becomes your gift, it's a way of life. You know, you live it all the time. You know, it's pretty amazing.
So what comes to my mind, Chris, is you work with so many people, you have such great exposure. You obviously get, I can just imagine how many testimonials that you get every week, but does a couple of them stand out? Does some testimonials of people that you've received that you've worked with stand out to you that you could share with us?
Yeah, this is really interesting. I didn't know about this one. So I'm doing the general groups, and, you know, it's a webinar. So, you know, you go through your list and you're doing things. And this lady types in the chat, she goes, I've had arthritis since the age of 13. I'm now 34. I was in a wheelchair, could hardly move all my joints because it was so bad. And she said, I've been on these and I didn't know she'd been on these for 4 months. She said, the arthritis is gone. And she said, I'm absolutely blown away. You know, she got her life back. And just trying to think of others. I mean, we've had cancers gone, things like this. But, you know, life-changing things like that, you know, they just kind of stand out, you know. I had another guy actually in Africa. I think it was South Africa. This only came in the other week. He said, I'm a shaman in South Africa. And he said, I had cancer. And he said, I did a session, you know, the group healing sessions. And he said, I have the ability to go out of my body and watch what's going on externally, you know, what's going on inside it, like remote view it, you know. So, and he said, oh my God, you know, these Mechistic Beings were breaking down the cancer tumor. And he goes, but it's gone, you know. And he said, this is the real deal. And he said, I'm a shaman, you know, so I know about this stuff. And I thought that was beautiful of him, bless his heart, you know. So there's so many testimonies, you know, getting rid of Lyme disease. The problem with pathogens and stealth pathogens is there's no particular cure for them. You can try and, because if you have Lyme disease, for example, you have Babesia, Bartonella. Bartonella lurks in the GI tract, in the lower GI, so you have problems with your intestines, crashes the liver, so it doesn't process the toxins, so you get brain fog. It's really destructive of the body, blows up the teeth, blows up the eyes. Now, we have a thing where we can actually separate the body, so it's like timeline. So your timeline you're on now, you can split it in two. You're on a path of divine alignment, complete wellness, where all the stealth pathogens and the things are out of your body, and all the stealth pathogens are split on a timeline to the sun. So as time goes on, it's separated out of the body. It's been profound. I've been running it for a year. It's helped so many people with Morgellons, Lyme, Agent Orange, and what's the other one? HIV/AIDS. Got rid of it completely.
Wow.
So it's been fantastic.
Wow. But besides this actual physical healing of diseases and conditions, you can help someone to find their divine, I'm not sure what you call it, divine center or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of call it God space. You get in the God space where once your vibration's up, and I always encourage people as well, if you're a starseed, you need to be connected with your starseed family. So first of all, you've got to get your vibration up. They'll start talking to you, ask them, who are you? You're a Palladian, Arcturian, Atlantean, Lumerian,
Okay, we got to talk about this. Once you finish this statement, we got to talk about these starseeds.
So anyway, so they find out what a starseed. Now, what's interesting, when I was going bankrupt, the Mechistic Beings didn't show up straight away. So I was meditating, nothing. Meditating, 4 hours, nothing. I said, well, listen, I'm going to carry on meditating. You guys are going to show up. But what I learned was that with starseeds, because they're so manipulated, they don't waste their time until they realize that you're committed. You see what I mean? They're not going to give you downloads and mess about with you and show you all your gifts if you're not committed. So sometimes it can take a month of meditation, every day, and sometimes you start to lose faith a bit. Well, where are you? And I told them, well, I'm not going to stop. So, and eventually what happened is that everything broke loose and weird stuff started happening. It was incredible. Downloads, weird things in the room, showed me abilities, and it was just an incredible time. Because when you connect with Starseed Family, your life completely changes, and it's changed from then on.
So what do you mean by Starseed Family? What are the Starseeds? I mean, how would you explain this? It's brand new to me, so explain it to someone who doesn't know at all what you're
Well, it's like people talk about indigo children and different starseeds and things like that. That's great. It depends what time you came down, but a starseed is where Palladians, are starseed people. They're from Pallades. Mechistic Beings, alternate dimension. Arcturians, 12th dimension. Now, all these beings have helped humanity from, many, many eons. So what happens is, if you're a starseed, to get you down here, they need to splice you into a female being to get enough DNA so they can actually get the soul in. So you're born as a starseed, you're very different. DNA is different, thought patterns are different. And, you get in God's queue, yeah, I'll volunteer to come down. You get down here, think, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? But then, I always tell people, just a thing, when God says, look, I want volunteers, pretend you got diarrhea, run to the toilet, close the door, and don't come out until the volunteers are taken. But that's just a joke. But, you can either love it. That's where heaven and hell comes from, I think. It can either be heaven on earth or it could be hell on earth. It depends how you want to live it. And, I choose heaven. I love it. But the starseeds are there. So they're there to help people. They don't have to be here. They've chose to come down here to help. And so that's the difference. But the problem is the reptilian and the agenda know who's starseeds, and they try and attach to them and make them really depressed and lower the vibration.
More like thwarting their attempts to make a difference. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And, these, Jesus talked about demonic entities. I view them differently. There's different entities that can attach to you. There's draconians, very dark. If they're attached to you, they sit in the abdomen's bloaty, they hang on the shoulders, necks and shoulders tight. They tap in the lower back, so damage your L4, L5 disc, send you negative thoughts like suicide. They're really dark. Anunnaki aren't so dark, they just sit with you, you know, they attach to you as well. They're a spirit here, but in the fourth dimension, they're an actual being. They also attach to you. You got Luciferians, they're the snarly ones connected to the Vatican, where, you know, if you try and remove them, they can contort the body or speak snarly through, you know, through your voice box. There's many different classes of entities, and it's important to see what's attached to somebody and remove them. Once you remove them and you say a prayer to keep them out, they won't reattach whilst you're getting your vibration up. And that's really key to healing, you know.
So you do offer a lot of prayers in your book. Is there one that you feel we need to hear today? And would you be willing to offer that?
Absolutely. It's the prayer book. It's a little book, actually, I think. And, you know, we wrote that just with the prayers, and I call them maps of intent, but yeah, I can do one with prayers.
How do you get the prayer book?
Yeah, it's on the website. I think it's about $12. I'm not sure, but it's got all the prayers in it that we produced, and it's on the website, you know, so you can order that if you want to. But yeah, I could do the prayer protection. So let's do it. Do you want to do it?
Sure.
Okay. I also always get people to ground themselves first before you do the prayer. So what you should say is, I am of God. I ground myself to the earth. Dear God, I command that we create 27 esoteric Merkaba fields around me to protect me from any negative entities, fractals thereof, manipulations and transmissional frequencies that are not from my highest good through all space-time continuum in every dimension. And so we thank you, God, send you our unconditional love. So be it. Very powerful, probably the most powerful prayer on this planet, because it's, you know, it's sacred geometry, and it keeps these entities and things out.
Now, will it rid you of entities that are currently around you, or is it going to protect you from new ones?
It protects you from new ones. We do have one that you can actually say where it'll ask the Mechistic beings to escort the entity out. And that's really important. If you feel, you know, people say, oh my God, my abdomen looks like a football. Well, of course, you've got an empty in, because if you have low vibration in your lower intestine, it's going to paralyze lower intestine. So it gets really bloaty when you get gas, you know, and things like that, you know. So, and, you know, it's amazing what destruction they do to the body.
Oh my goodness, my friends, we only have about 4 minutes left. Christopher, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Is there a last minute thought or idea you would like to share with our audience, or tell us maybe?
I've got an affirmation. I've got an affirmation for you.
Okay.
And I would say this, and it goes like this. It says, I am divine love and wisdom, and I am worthy of all the abundance God has in store for me. Full stop. There is no doubt.
Nice.
Now, you can't say period because it doesn't sound the same. You've got to say full stop. It's very British.
Full stop. I like it.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for coming on again today. We're definitely going to have you back, because I think there's a lot more that we could have talked about.
Yeah, I can go for hours.
I think Jackie and I can too. That's why we keep the show to an hour, because it's Thank you again, sir, for showing up as you and bringing some great thoughts and ideas. Jackie, any takeaways? What did you get from today? You were intrigued. I could see your not little. I'm not going to degrade you by saying little brain. I could see your mind grinding away.
Yeah, I mean, mind blown, definitely, because there's a lot of newness of information for me, but there's also, in some cases, that information feels like, yeah, okay, that makes sense now. So
you can connect, right?
Yeah, so it's new information, but it's also an awareness that I'm getting from today. So thank you for that, Christopher. And I've enjoyed very much perusing your book and enjoyed those prayers as well. So I will continue reading more about what you've written. It's so much information. It's so much information. Thank you.
I love it. Thanks for having me on. Bless your heart.
Did you have a blast?
Oh, it was amazing. It's blown my pantaloons off. But don't forget, I've got 72 pairs left.
That's right. You've got enough to replace the one that gets blown off, right?
Oh, that's about all we have time for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you will tell a friend about the show. We don't have really telephones these days. We have Tell a Friend, and you can text somebody right now and say, wow, I just watched this mind-blowing show called Life Mastery Radio. And you can catch us every week on Contact Talk Radio. There, I gave Cameron a plug. I should get something for that, right? No, I'm just kidding. Lastly, make it an effort to go and check out Christopher's prayers, his offerings, his great programs. You just might find something that helps you. Lastly, please, please, please make it a great day, because it is all about choice. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for tuning into Life Mastery with Todd Allen, the talk radio show that dives into the science of higher consciousness. Join Todd and his guests weekly at 10 a.m. Pacific Time and learn how to live a peaceful life. For more information on Todd and his guests, visit his website at www.lifemasteryradio.net. That's www.lifemasteryradio.net.